Some additional information come out about this Higgins event, so I'm just going to do a bit of an epilogue. So quick recap, way back in March 2019, that's how long ago this thing was, she was permitted entry to the most important building in the country after hours while intoxicated, not intending to work. So I left out one part there. The male, he left early, but then Higgins was found naked in the morning. Entry determined to be a security breach, of course it was. Male was terminated and Higgins remained employed but in a different position. There's two possibilities for how this thing started. Either it was completely staged from the get-go and she wasn't pissed and she just acted pissed in this video, or a couple of security guards stuffed up and then some opportunists saw a chance to milk it for everything it was worth, and everything was then planned and all the theatre staged from that point. Then, for the entirety of 2020, think about that, a whole year, she worked in that new office post, no problems at all. Because they're all parasite public servants in Canberra, none of them lost a minute's wages during the COVID hoax. Anyway, Wilkinson got involved, either she involved herself or someone called her in. But anyway, so 2 years later, that bulwark of morals and public behavioural standards, God, she was pontificating during COVID. Lisa Wilkinson steps up. So Higgins then decides it was sexual assault and reports to police after all of these meetings with the media. And for the next 18 months, she was at all these high-profile events. The National Press Club, for God's sake, you got a criminal trial and you don't just sort of, inappropriately mention it to a couple of people, who aren't even in the media, or you mention it to a journo, or you're secretly being filmed. She goes to the National Press Club. The whole thing was a circus. Every lawyer watching would have known, oh, look, there's no way this is going to go to trial, or if it does, it's not going to be an actual criminal trial. But anyway, somehow, what a surprise, a juror found prejudicial information outside of the trial, outside of the evidence. Maybe they saw the National Press Club or saw the March for Justice. It wasn't like she was just there. Now, she was speaking about what happened at Parliament House at these events. Not only that, Wilkinson does an expose on the Logies night. Everyone remembers on the 2nd of December 2022, the prosecutor comes out on the grass outside the court and just announces, oh, dropping all charges. We're really concerned about Brittany and it's all your fault, you people. You keep talking about her. She didn't bring this on herself. Well, she didn't. It was all scripted. And of course, on the 13th of December, 11 days later, the negotiations have all wrapped up. So 3 years to get to the trial being dropped. 11 days later, millions of bucks changes hands. So despite obvious questions over gifting millions in public funds in what was clearly a coordinated plan to steal the money, using the hoax to demonise society generally as well, the media, government and Higgins go dark for exactly 6 months. And here we are. This was the paper yesterday, Thursday, January 15, 2023. 6 months later, exactly 6 months. Well, why did they wait 6 months? Why, maybe perhaps in the negotiations or in the contract for getting the money, there was a clause that, the payment is final after 6 months. That's what I'm guessing. So we can't get our money back, according to them. And look at this detailed reporting by the media serving the public interest. I got there now, the Circus Media report details on their very own circus government media event, because they're a part of it, feigning to be doing the job of keeping government accountable to the people. They even found out how much she got. Here's where the media rubbish shit in our faces. Secret compo. Higgins, 40 years of lost wages. Well, there's no way it could have been made public because people said, well, hang on, she worked for a whole year in 2020, proving that the event itself didn't stop her from working. How could she get any money? Did a video at the time, said that it looked like this CDDA scheme was how she got paid because there's no legal requirement before you make a payment. And there's no limit on how much they can pay. So it was tailor-made for this Brittany operation. It was done out of the Finance Department, so therefore the Finance Minister's responsible. But they can delegate. I'd say it's highly likely that in your news feeds, or those who, out of curiosity, because it's the only reason you do it, switch on to 6 PM news, wouldn't be able to avoid the Finance Minister. Here she is, Katie Gallagher, takes the stage in the theatrics and reads out her lines as the opposition read out their scripted lines in the Parliament. No getting it on at Albanese. It's just this, oh, what a drama. Now, when questioned about the payment, well, she pulls on the old Sergeant Schultz, I know nothing, that's paraphrased, which indicates she delegated the fraudulent payment, which, given that it was the highest profile payment they're ever going to make, what wouldn't she delegate? The questions don't go down the line of, well, hang on, who was the delegate? They stick with Katie. She's going to take the heat. It's getting a bit much for her Finance Minister, Katie. Going to go, watch back tears during questioning about Brittany Higgins. Oh, that's what Australians should be concerned about. Don't ask questions about the money, you callous bastards. Katie's in tears. Now, this is the photo they put with the caption. This was, obviously, they would have gone through all the video. This is the closest the photo to maybe looking like she might have. Now, in the headline it said wiping back tears, as though there were tears, but the caption says she fought them back. So this is her being brave. So the headline's wrong, the caption's right. She fought them back. Here's another photo they got with a caption, and I go a bit hard here, but, you know, I don't care. I hate these guys. So here is probably a more accurate depiction of a soulless entity masquerading as a human being, teeth gritted as it plays its part in ongoing savagery of brutally raping the public finances, incurring ever-increasing debt, because that's all these guys are doing. That Philip Lowe, he gets a real evil sort of snigger to him when he talks about how, oh, did they misunderstand me about the interest rates? It was the nuances. Oh, he's an evil fucking prick. Now, I've got a term. I haven't heard anyone else use it, although they may have. I call it financial pedophilia, where you rack up the debt and impose it on all those kids that are coming through school at the moment. As soon as they start to earn any money, the bankers are just going to be ripping it off them for nothing. Just interest on debt that's been accrued by nonsense like this.
With Senator Susan McDonald, Shadow Resources Minister. Good to talk to you, Susan. It must have been a pretty ugly period in the Senate this afternoon. Do you feel that any light was shed on the issue?
I'm not going to play this video. I just show that introduction because nothing was disclosed. To highlight how it's just such a coordinated operation. From the moment they decided to kick this thing off, either, like I said, right from the start, her walking in, or after opportunistically, they would have had someone like a Jane Holton type. Remember, she was coordinated the COVID response here. She was on CEPI. She was tied up with Bill Gates Foundation. She went to all the government meetings. She was on all of the boards. She was everywhere to make sure she made sure everyone was doing their part in the plan that was concocted overseas. This isn't on that grander scale. This is only on a national scale. But there's someone that would have been coordinated, Lisa Wilkinson, coordinating the project, coordinating the Department of Prosecutions. Okay, here's what you got to do. Go to the judge and all the politicians, and they've written all the scripts that are being read out now. It's all a big operation. In particular, the social aspect of it was demonising men, and also just to rip, 2 or 3 million, and now they're just this whole nonsense, and also to distract people. How many bills before Parliament are people looking at now? This is their political news. I don't worry about that. We've got Katie Gallagher, she's in tears. We got all this drama with alleged rape, all this sort of sordid stuff going on. And this is, 6 months later, I'll just reiterate, there's probably a clause in the contract that the payment that it's finalised after 6 months. That's why they're not asking any questions about it. They're just asking, what did she know? Oh, did she mislead Parliament? Who gives a fuck? Give us back our money. And my message to Brittany is, look, enjoy not having a mortgage at the expense of future generations of Australians. Now, just do that. Just don't want to see her face anymore. Whenever I see it, I just get depressed. It's just a reminder of how messed up our entire political, media, corporate, banking controlled nation is. She's representative of it. All right, I'm going to be fired up now. That's it for this one.